All right, my dears. Now we are on to multiplying mixed numbers or mixed fractions by fractions. Now, this is the same as multiplying fractions by fractions. Once we go ahead and convert our mixed fraction to an improper fraction. Okay. If you don't remember how to do this, there are several ways we can do this. Okay. So if I have 1 2/3, let me go ahead and draw that out for you. All right, 1 2/3 simply means I have my whole is broken into three parts, and that there's one that's completely filled in. That's the whole number one, and then there is one that only has two of the thirds filled in. That's what it is. And so now, if I go back to the skill that I learned before, how many parts do I have here altogether? I have three. I have two sets of them, but there are just three parts. That is, my whole number is broken down into. Now, how many of those parts do I have? One, two, three, four, five. I've got five. So what I did here was I just converted my fraction, my mixed fraction, to an improper fraction. Now, this is not always what you're going to want to do. I just needed you to see it so you could understand it better. You don't always want to do this though, because sometimes your numbers will be something like 5 and 6/8, and ain't nobody got time to be drawing all that stuff out. So then, how else can I convert my mixed fraction to an improper fraction? I am so glad you asked. In this case, what I would do is I would multiply my 5 by my 8. That gives me 40. And then I would add my numerator. So I'm going to take my denominator and multiply by my whole number and then add on my numerator. So 40 plus 6, that equals 46/8. Okay, this is the same as this. Got it? Good. Let's do that with the work we're actually working with. I have 1 2/3. So I've got 1 2/3, right? And I want to convert that. So I'm going to multiply my denominator by my whole number. That'll give me 3. And then I'm going to add my numerator, okay? And that will give me 3 plus 2, which is 5. I'm going to keep my denominator just like I did over here. So that will be 5/3 times 4/5. Now, we know how we can do this. We can simplify because we're in sixth grade going to seventh. We need to be able to simplify before we get to work. So let's get it. If I do look at my fractions independently, they are as simple as they can be, except I would convert this to a mixed fraction, but I don't want a mixed fraction. That's why that's where I started. So my next look is going to then be diagonal. Can I simplify a 4 over a 3? Or a 3 and a 4? I could, but no, I can't. Actually, that's it. That's where we're going and stand with that. Now, can I simplify two fives? Because what is 5 over 5? Well, I'm glad you asked. 5 over 5 is the same as 1 over 1. Now, does it really matter? In this case, it does matter because if I'm multiplying 1 times 4, that's a lot simpler than 1 times 3. And it could prevent me from having to simplify later. So I'm going to go ahead and make that my new piece of work. So I'm going to have 1 over 3 times 4 over 1. Look at how much cleaner that looks. And I'm going to multiply across now. And I've got 4/3. Now, because we are at the end of this problem solving, we have to start thinking about this 4/3 differently. Do I want it to be 4/3 or do I want to simplify? Because this is an improper fraction, and very rarely am I leaving my proper and my fraction improper. I want to simplify that. And the one thing that I can do is think about how many threes, because remember, our fraction bar tells us to do what? It tells us to divide. How many threes are in 4? Well, there's 1 3 in 4. I keep my denominator. How many are left over if I subtract the amount of threes there are in 4 from 4? There will be 1. So my answer, my complete answer of 1 2/3 times 4/5 is 1 1/3. Okay. That's how we do it. If you have any questions about it, we can talk about it later. All right, I'm going to give you one more problem to try out. All right, our last problem is not going to include a drawing or a model because most of your problems probably won't. So we're going to go ahead and do 5 2/8 times 4 12ths. And I want you to pause the video and try to work through it knowing what you know. I'm not expecting you to draw any models, okay? Come on back when you're ready. So first thing I want to do is I want to simplify this 4 12ths. I know that 12 is a multiple of 4 and 4 is a factor of 12. And so how many 4s are in 12? There are 1. There is 1 third. I shouldn't say 1/3. Well, 1/3 of 12 is 4, but there are 3 4s in 12. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, so, but my fraction is going to be 1/3. Now I'm going to look at my mixed fraction or my mixed number, and I'm going to do what I was taught. I am going to multiply my denominator times my whole number, and I will add, oh, that kind of looks like the same thing. Let's make that crystal clear. I will add my numerator. So 5 times 8 is 40 plus 2 is 42, and we're going to keep our denominator of 8. Okay, now we have already simplified the 4 and the 12. So we're going to just come over here and simplify this 8 and this 42. If nothing else, I know that they are both divisible by 2, right? And I don't want to go too big because some people may not know. So we're going to do 21 over 4. Okay, so we have 21 over 4 times 1 over 3. Ah, look at there. Look at Lou. Right? So, because 42 divided by 2, I can hear some people saying, how'd you get that? Let me just go ahead and do it. So that's 21. This is short division. I know that there are 2 2s and 4 and 1 2s and 2. Okay, so now I have the 3 and the 21. The 4 and the 1 are simple. 21 over 4, they don't really share any factors. So I've got to go my butterfly way, and I know that 3 is actually a factor of 21. So that is going to be 7 over 4 times 1 over 1. Okay, how many 3s are in 21? 1. I mean 7. So this is going to be 1 7. 1 and 7. So now I'm going to multiply across. 7 times 1 is 7. 4 times 1 is 4. And then I'm going to remember that my fraction bar here requires that I divide. So how many 4s are in 7? Well, there is 1 4. And then it's just before it gets to 2. So my answer is 1 3/4. All right. So my problem of 5 2/8 when multiplied, 5 2/8 when multiplied by 4 12ths, I get 1 3/4. Fraction that is equivalent to 1 3/4. Okay, that is it for today. Go ahead and get to your practice.